Hi, my name is Danny Jenkins. I chose Germany as my country for the cultural research project. I've actually traveled to Germany several times for business, and right away I realized that there was a huge culture difference in that between the U.S. and the Germans. I also traveled to Switzerland, which is the part that I go to. They actually speak Swiss German, which is a form of German, and that's actually an interesting topic that I found when doing my research and doing my travels over there. Germans, for the most part, speak German. There are different dialects and different types of German that they speak depending on which region they come from, north, east, south, and west. The standard language that the Germans learn in school is called High German. There's also Low German, and like I mentioned before, there's Swiss German, which the people in Switzerland speak Swiss German. There's also a few others that they speak in Switzerland. But for the most part, the standard High German is what Germans use as their base language. It's what they revert back to when they have trouble understanding dialect or have trouble communicating. They resort back to high German. One thing that I was nervous about when traveling to Germany was, the communication. Obviously, I don't speak any other languages. I did learn some Spanish in high school, but I can't remember much of it. But one thing that I found out is that English is the international business language. Everywhere you go when you're conducting business, everywhere they speak English. The Chinese, when they speak with the Germans, they speak in English. And same with French and Germans. They all speak English when conducting business with each other. So I thought that was an interesting fact. Another interesting fact that I found when I was doing my travels was just how polite people are when they speak to you, and how accommodating they are. They want to make sure that you're satisfied, that you're happy, that you don't need anything. As soon as you walk in, they address you as Mr. Jenkins or Mrs. Whoever, and that's a lot different than it is here in the U.S., especially in the greater Cincinnati area. I know that our culture here in the U.S. varies from region to region just because we're such a big country. But in Germany, just the way that they treat you and the way that they have the utmost respect for people is really amazing. And as far as some other interesting things that I found was they always have drinks on the table. They constantly offer you coffee, which is a huge deal in Germany and Europe in general. They love to drink coffee and they love to smoke. The smoking is mainly a German thing. Germans love to smoke. They get multiple breaks every couple hours where they can go and smoke, have coffee, and if people ever tried to take that away like they're trying to do in some parts of the United States, it would be a huge deal for them. While I was conducting my research, I stumbled across religion, and I never really thought about religion because you really don't think about how other countries would practice. A lot of people who don't travel abroad or get to go visit other countries wouldn't really think about the difference in religions. And with Germany, the religion is actually not much different than that of the U.S. Most of the German population are practicing Christians. Half of them are Roman Catholics and the other half are Protestants. There is a small fraction of the population in Germany that are Muslims, and then there's another small fraction that they don't have a religious preference. The north and eastern parts are occupied by Protestants, and whereas the Catholics mainly occupy the south and western parts. Another thing that I found that was interesting, I guess I should have known this, and maybe some people do, but I kind of, I guess, forgot or didn't pay attention when I was younger. But Germany is actually the birthplace of many of the history's most famous and important composers, like Ludwig van Beethoven and Johann Sebastian Bach. The work of these composers, among others, had a huge impact on the transition of music from the classical period to the Romantic period. In 2006, Germany was the world's fifth largest musical market. Dance, rock, and trance music were especially popular. Germany is also the host to many large annual rock music festivals, including Rock am Ring, which is the country's largest music festival with over 80,000 attendees. Another thing that's very interesting that a lot of people may or may not know is looking at sports with Germans. In the U.S., you have your football, baseball, basketball, whether it's professional, collegiate. Those are your three main sports in the U.S. and there's a lot of fans and a lot of followers of those sports. Like I said, collegiate and professional. And it does vary some in the U.S. I know that up north there's a lot of diehard professional NFL fans, and you get further south and there's more collegiate fans. And here in Kentucky, college basketball is a huge deal. And that goes back to the Civil War. It's a big reason why college basketball is so big to the state of Kentucky it was one of the only things that they could agree on after the Civil War because Kentucky was divided between sides on that. But anyway, back to Germany. The Germans pick a couple of sports that they follow as much as we do, as far as fans attending games, watching the games on TV. Soccer is clearly the most popular sport in Germany and in Europe overall. There's a German National League that has the best attended professional soccer matches in Europe. There's hundreds and thousands that attend games and millions that watch the games on television at home. There's also tennis, which is not too popular, especially in this area of the United States, but it is very popular in Germany. I actually was traveling by train while I was in Switzerland, traveling from Switzerland to Germany, and there was very interesting. I was sitting on a train, and there was a group of young men, probably my age, between the ages of probably 20 and 25, 27. And I think it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and they were all, you could tell had been drinking heavily for quite some time, and they were actually all going to a soccer game. And just the way they acted and the way that you could tell that they were just diehard soccer fans. They had their team jerseys on, and you can kind of compare it to tailgating for football games. There's a lot of people that grill out and consume alcohol before the games and party and try to have fun before the game. But this was different. Just seeing these young men on the train traveling to wherever the soccer game was and chanting and yelling, and they were all speaking German, so I couldn't understand what they were saying, but you could tell that they were singing their team's fight songs, and they were just having a really good time. It was very interesting. Another thing that I wanted to mention was the food for German people. The food is a huge deal for Germans. The most popular German meat is pork. Pork that's traditionally cooked, served in a pot. Germany is also known, most people know Germany for their sausage. They have over 1,500 different types of sausage, so that's kind of a big deal for the Germans. And there's lots of interesting stuff on German culture, and just comparing the two between the United States and Germany there's a huge difference. One other thing I wanted to mention is debt in the United States is huge. Everybody uses plastic. There's not very many people that even carry cash on them anymore. They all use their debit card and or credit cards when making simple purchases at fast food restaurants or shopping. Everybody swipes their credit card. And while I was in Germany, I found that no one uses plastic. I went to all I had was the company credit card while I was over there. I didn't have any money, any cash. So I was trying to get around the city of Mannheim and find something for lunch and dinner actually. And everywhere that I went, when I went up to the counter, I wanted to make sure, so I asked, "Do you guys take Visas or MasterCard?" And they said no, cash only. So that is it's very frowned upon to use credit cards in Germany. Germany is completely against debt. They want, if you have the money, you can buy it. So that's probably a good thing. I think the U.S. has fallen very accustomed to using credit cards and spending money that they actually don't have. And yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how much different life is over there. You get over there and it's definitely a culture shock, as they would say, and that kind of it's true. They also the obviously Volkswagen is a huge German car manufacturer, but there are a lot of people that drive other European brands. There's a lot of BMWs, Volvo. There are Fords, but they're all compact cars. They don't have big, huge, diesel trucks and huge semis and dump trucks. Everything's small, everything's compact, everything's economical. Even they do use what I would compare to a semi, but it's a much smaller, compact, more economical version, which is kind of interesting to me to see that, because you travel any highway in the U.S., it's nothing but 18-wheel tractor trailers, on both sides. So it's pretty interesting to see the difference in traveling down highways. And they don't have speed limits in Germany. There's some areas where they do mark a speed limit. They do mark speed limits while they're doing construction, but when you're on the highway, the main speed that they use is basically everybody travels around 100 miles per hour. They use kilometers over there, but it's around 100 miles per hour or better when traveling on highways. But their highways are very straight, very clean. Everything's clearly marked, and they're very courteous drivers and very aware drivers as they're driving down the interstate. If you come up on somebody and they're not driving as fast as you are, they automatically get over. They all use turn signals every time they turn, every time they switch lanes. They don't pass. They only pass in the fast lane. It's illegal to pass in the other lane, which it is illegal in the U.S., but everybody does it, and it's not really enforced. So that's my presentation on Germany. It's a very interesting country, and if you ever get the chance to go there, I highly recommend it. It's very interesting to see the different culture and see how just the way from breakfast to dinner, just how they conduct their conversations, how they serve you when you're in restaurants. It's very different from that of the U.S. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.